Good evening, I'm Ed Robinson, and welcome to Week in Review. Basing themselves on the House Committee on Un-American Activities, a new group has formed on the North Shore called the House Committee on Un-Lynn, Un-Swampscott, and Un-Salem Activities Committee. Though apparently unaware that they've used the word committee twice in their name, these North Shore patriots have proved tireless in their self-appointed task of canvassing the area, taking down all the names of those people who, quote, have undermined the war effort by not displaying a yellow ribbon prominently on their house or car. A committee spokesperson also said that they were going after war protesters who, quote, held a flag but in our judgment were not wearing a sufficiently reverent expression. Violators of the committee standards will be lined up against the seawall at Kings Beach and shot on an approximately bi-weekly basis. Look in the Lynn item for specific dates and times. From a statement our sources stole from the Pentagon, we have learned that the U.S. government has employed hypnotists to convince American citizens that anything they do is good. The hypnotists have so far been able to convince Americans that war is good, that having few American deaths and massive Iraqi deaths is something we should really be proud of, and that we want to read a book by the president's dog. They have still been unable to convince the public that Dan Quayle is a competent guy. When asked to respond to the charges, President Bush said he is much more concerned with the broccoli problem than any hypnotism in the government. When Vice President Quayle was asked to respond, he declined to comment as he was busy clucking like a chicken. As a special follow-up to a story we reported last week, General Schwarzkopf has denied any knowledge of a comparison to Fozzie Bear. The General also has issued a statement which in part reads, I, General Norman Schwarzkopf, do not like being compared to any cartoon characters. This statement induced a huge number of comparisons from the entertainment world. Some of our favorites being Andy Rooney likening the General to the Grinch who stole Christmas, famous Rabbi Yitzhak Goldstein saying, the General is just like my favorite 10 plagues, and famed killer Charles Manson calling the General a swell guy. In a related story, Dr. Seuss released a statement saying, the Grinch would not want his name connected with a man like the General. The Grinch has also tried to squelch rumors that he's planning a comeback by stealing Passover. And now we go to our entertainment and human interest reporter, Dan Klein.
Thank you, Ed. The recent departure of Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones has met with scorn from most people in the music business. But the move has been lauded by ex-Van Halen singer David Lee Roth. Roth has called the move the best move since Pete Best left the Beatles. As a service for those high school students next month, Week in Review starts the first of a perhaps 5-part series where we give you more than hints and suggestions. We give you the answers. Got your pencil and paper ready? Number 34 in the analogy section of the English portion of the test. Lint is to diamond as television is to blank. The answer is C, art. And in the math section, number 45, we use the fact that the area of a circle is pi r squared and will probably remain so for the foreseeable future to come up with, as usual, 1 or 0. Recently, some of the Week in Review news stories have been reported missing. Our crack investigative unit has traced the stolen stories to former Facts of Life star Dana Plato.
These cookies. These cookies are great. Well, actually, they're not so good. But they're for a good cause.
Crunchy, gooey, icky clusters. They're gross, but they're for the happy campers.
In sports news, a new match has been added to the upcoming WrestleMania card. In the long-awaited match, Siskel will be facing Ebert in a steel cage death match. This will be added to a card already featuring Jesse Jackson versus David Duke and Geraldo Rivera versus some furniture. And in a feature I call Ripping Off Dave Letterman, we'll be going to our Man in the Field with a top 10 list. Top 10 reasons to watch Week in Review. 1. We're holding your children hostage. 2. We steal all the best comedy bits from other shows. 3. It's only 10 minutes long. 4. Most of the people watching are probably related to Dan. 5. we keep things simple by not hiring an annoying celebrity guest host. 6, so we can increase our budget, and by the other 4 reasons. Back to you, Dan and Ed.
Recently, the Lynn Election Commission voted unanimously to exclude Swampscott native and Lynn resident Sandy Tennant from the commission. Yesterday, in a follow-up decision, the commission ruled that if Tennant ever runs for mayor of Lynn again, he must change how his name is listed on the ballot. The commission claimed that, perhaps unwittingly, Tennant was misleading voters as to where his political sympathies lie. In the future, his name must appear as Sandy Landlord. Some years ago, Swampscott's sole movie theater, the Surf Cinema, was torn down and replaced by the Chasins Cove condominiums located across from Fisherman's Beach. This left the library and sewage treatment plant as the only remaining cultural centers of the small seaside community. Now, in a landmark decision, the Supreme Court has ruled that to compensate, Chasin Cove condo owners must allow Swampscott residents to watch cable movies in their home, quote, on a periodic, regular, and frequent basis. Next week, Unit 1B will kick things off with a double feature, 9.5 Weeks and A Little Mermaid. Bring your own popcorn. And now we go to the mailbag with Dan Klein.
In the mail this week, we have a letter from longtime TV executive Brandon Tartikoff. This letter was borrowed from Tartikoff's computer, and we'd appreciate it if none of our viewers told him that, as I said, we borrowed it. The letter was to be sent to his chief programming executive. The letter reads, Dear Mr. Walter Schmetnikoff, Vice President, I do not like the recent influx of creativity on network shows. To remedy this, I would like you to order a new season of Who's the Boss and see if we can get LA Law and Twin Peaks off the air. The letter goes on to talk about how they should try to bring back Small Wonder and also bring back Gidget. The rest is too painful to read. So, as the world burns around us, I'm Dan Klein, along with Ed Robinson, and this was the Week in Review. That was terrible, wasn't it?
No, it's not bad. To look at it. It seems like I have to look at things before
I
I
should do that again.
before I can really see what they look like. It's like it seems different from
Ooh, we're on credits now.
seems different from
We're doing credits footage. Should I
Yeah,
say?
I know.
And just, you know, cameras, Brian Clistein, and Brian Clistein.
Len, should I do that again?
Do we have to do that?
I stumbled on As the World.
So what am I supposed to do?